Hey, it's day 3 right now. Didn't record yesterday. Nothing super spectacular. I worked on fixing the truss rod on my guitar, which I couldn't do. So that one is kind of stuck right now. I got to figure out what to do with this guitar that I was hoping to set up. And then we're trying to finish the song Wake Up. I've got some lyrics I'm still writing there. Got some cool ideas, but it doesn't quite fit. So now I'm still practicing that song because it's kind of tough. So I'm just, running that over and over when I can. And then I'm working on our next song. It's called Patterns in the Snow. You can see I'm writing it out with my Guitar Pro software, and it's kind of a long process, but it's going pretty well. It's I've made it through about like 10 seconds of the song. But also there's a lot going on and it's different from the last song, so it's pretty cool. I'm excited to get that one ready to go, and then maybe I don't know. I'm not sure if we can practice it or if I just have to send it to the guys, which I'll probably do. Hopefully I get somewhere in the next day where I can send it to them and they could start working on it for next week. Hey, so it's Thursday, day 4, and I'm working on this song. I was thinking about these videos and something that's been kind of going back and forth in my head because yesterday I worked really hard on something all day and I want to share my process, but there's something that I was kind of afraid to talk about, and so I've been thinking about how to say it, so I'm just hitting record and I'm going to try and talk about it. So basically, when my band and I started out, we were playing some songs that I wrote with another guy who has left the band, so that's part of the reason we're not doing those songs. But another part is that the drummer in the band, he was kind of playing around with AI music, and he was showing it to us and talking about how it's a way that we could take our songs and kind of like demo them and see what they would sound like in different finished formats, which is really cool. And it's really kind of inspiring to take something, because I'll play you what stuff sounds like when I write it, because I write it in my computer and then the computer plays it back and it sounds like a computer. I mean, it's like emulating instruments, but it's not as good as a real guitar. And I just usually write the guitar first, and then that's all I have for a while to listen to. So with this program, you can take your music and put it in there, and it will add drums and mixing, and you can add lyrics and vocals and all kinds of stuff, and just hear what your sound would sound like. And I know that's really controversial in any aspect of using programs like Suno. So that was enough, but actually I started playing around with this and putting in my songs, and I like how they sounded. And then I was like, well, just for fun, what would it sound like if you wrote me a song that sounded like this kind of stuff that I'm trying to write? What if the AI writes me a song? And I started playing around with that, and at first it was kind of rough, but I got to a point where it made one song first that I was really into. And I was like, oh, this is really fun. And I was listening to this song a lot. And I was like, this is, if this was on an artist that I found, I would like it and I would listen to it. And I showed it to my band, and they said, we really like this. And obviously, I don't have I don't have any disagreement, but it sounds a lot more. I don't know what the word is. I don't want to say better because obviously it's different, but as far as like a sound for our band, it's like cooler than the stuff that we started out playing, and it's more like honestly closer to what I want to be writing. I don't know if anybody watching this, if you're a musician or what, or any kind of artist, but when you're creating art, it's not always what you hoped it would be. It's not always what you were shooting for. And so I've been writing for a long time. I've been playing for like 20 years or so, but I've never gotten to the point where I'm like sounding like I really want to. And that's part of, I've never been fully committed to it like I am now. And obviously I'm going to keep working on that, and I'm going to keep playing, keep writing and keep creating stuff out of my brain. But hearing this was like just surprising, because it's like, this is exactly the sound that I was looking for, that I want to be writing. And it's kind of handed, to me on like a silver platter kind of. And so the guys in the band, and it was their idea first, and they were like, what if we played songs like this, and this is a really cool sound. So obviously I have my questions about that. And there's some doubts about everything that I hear about AI is bad, and I'm like stealing the songs from people who, I guess, unwillingly train the AI, and I didn't write the songs by hand, and all that stuff is, it's going through my head a lot. But I like the songs, and I don't know where this is going to lead. It's like it's not like a reality where I'm playing these for millions of people and they all think like that I'm a genius who wrote this, or that even the songs would be that good. So yeah, for right now, we're starting out playing a couple songs that I used the AI to help me write. And that leads me to my process that I'm working on now, which is taking the songs, because all I have is like an audio file, that was generated by this computer, and I have to, learn how to play it. So I'm decent at learning things by ear. I mean, I can learn, if I hear something that's like kind of simple or isolated or whatever, but with this kind of complex stuff that we're playing, or that we're, these songs are, there's a lot going on. So my process right now is I'm using one program that can analyze an audio file and tell you what the notes are. And then I'm using another program that I've always used for basically my whole music career, where I just write in sheet music. I write in kind of tabs, and it turns it into sheet music. Fortunately, growing up, I was in orchestra and I played cello, and I learned how to read music. I mean, I guess it's not that complicated, but I know how all the different notes are written, and I know how like time signatures and things work. And I've also been using this program for so long that like I'm very capable of writing music. So yeah, my process right now is I'm taking these recordings that were generated by the computer, translating them into sheet music, and then learning them. And it's not like a robotic thing. Like, part of the fun part for me is I'm going through and looking at these notes and figuring out what, how do you play that on a guitar? Like, that's not something that's like explained or anything like that. So yeah, I'm taking the songs and I'm looking at all the notes, and then I'm figuring out, like what octave is that? How would you play that realistically on the instrument? And I don't know if this is part of the AI training or whatever, but so far I found that everything is pretty much like not easy to play, but it's very straightforward in terms of like the chords make sense, which is just music theory, I guess, and like they're very playable. Everything that sounds like a guitar is like in the range of an actual guitar, so that's really pretty cool. So yeah, I'm writing out the chords, I'm writing out all the melodies, and just turning these songs into, like I said, it's just sheet music, and then that's stuff that the band can practice. And we've got one song so far that's almost done, and I'm working on the second one, which has it's interesting because I'm realizing there's some similarities in the style, which is like cool, right? Because any artist has like similarities between their songs, and it's not just completely random. And also the differences in like the techniques and the styles that I need to learn in order to play this stuff. So I'm also learning a lot of skills with the guitar and learning how to play better. And I've got these songs that I can practice now that teach me very specific skills that I've wanted to learn and not had, I don't know, not been motivated to practice it, but it's like, this is a really cool way, kind of like Duolingo or something. It's like exercises that I can do that are helping me play better. And like the guys in the band said, they can hear me improving. They said I was good before. It's not like I'm just learning how to play guitar, but some of this stuff is really complex, and I think it'll be really impressive when we can do it on stage. So yeah, that's kind of my end game right now, is like, these are songs, however I got them. Part of me thinks of it as like we're doing covers of songs that are brand new. So, even if it's a cover, like the Beatles did covers, that was how they started out. So yeah, for now we're kind of covering these AI songs, and obviously I'm changing them. I'm adding a lot to the arrangements and the lyrics, and it's really exciting. So I'm trying not to let all of the haters hold me back, but I still go on Reddit and I see all this stuff, and I comment on it, and I argue with people because I try to defend my position, and I try to learn of like what is the big issue that people have with this stuff. So that's where my head is at a lot of the time. But yeah, I haven't seen anything, I guess. So I've seen a lot of what's out there, a lot of the discussion that people are having, and there's nothing that really convinces me that this is like a bad thing to do. But what does kind of frustrate me is that I see people who hear the word AI, I saw this guy was doing a charity stream on Twitch, and he was giving away free stuff and trying to, I think, make some money to donate. And he made a flyer. He made a digital image to advertise his charity stream, and the image was made with AI. And a bunch of the comments are like, I would never watch your charity stream now because you used AI to make an image. And like, I don't know, like that's a job that was stolen from somebody who was going to draw a picture for this charity thing. I don't know. But that's where we're at right now. There's people who are just kind of blindly against what's, things like I'm doing. And I guess the people that I've talked to, most of them don't really care, or, they're kind of against it, but not like adamantly. So I'm moving ahead and I'm doing my thing, and it's going to sound really cool. And that's what I'm excited about, like at the end of the day, we're going to be up on stage, we're going to be playing our instruments, and nobody would know the difference other than like the fact that I feel like these songs are better than the songs that I write myself. That's the only thing, is like, I'm picturing somebody in the audience that's like, how did they make this? Like, this is really cool. But that's a good problem to have, I think. So yeah, we're going to have some awesome songs. And then I want to, like, I am also working on, these skills that are helping me to write my own songs. And so that's where I really want to focus. And maybe once I'm more comfortable with that, then we'll drop these songs and just play the ones that I wrote myself. I don't know how the other guys will feel about that because I don't think they have any qualms about just playing these songs. And sorry, I don't know how to use a camera. Um, so yeah, we're moving forward, and this song, it took me the entire day yesterday to do less than a minute of the song, but it is kind of crazy. I'll put a clip of that in here because it's a awesome song, and we're gonna be playing it, and it's just gonna be really amazing. Um, So I'm traveling tomorrow and I'm away for the weekend. So this has been my first 4 days of this kind of new lifestyle where I'm writing and staying at home and not having a real job. So it's gone pretty well. I'm doing about as well as I'd hoped. Meeting my expectations for myself pretty well because I'll talk about this some other time probably, but I did try to do this before a long time ago and it went about as poorly as possible. So I was a little worried about that. But I think that's enough for enough yapping right now. So thanks if you watch this. Bye.